Story time, people. I want to do this video because it's really a myth buster. I'm going to tell you a story from a client of mine. I have a couple of clients very similar to this person, but this one for me is what he has accomplished in a very short amount of time is very impressive. And here's what this video is about. And here's the myth. Many people believe that you have to be a high earner, meaning you have to make a lot of money to make money and to become a millionaire or to become financially free. That can't be further from the truth. Here's the story. We just got a new client that we're going to be managing 8 of his residential properties, 4 long terms and 4 short terms. This person is 40 years old. He is a millionaire and he is financially free. And he currently, and has been since he was 22, a school teacher. His current salary is $52,000 a year. People, that's not a lot of money. But with $52,000 a year, or let's go back when he started doing this, when he was 22 years old, that his salary when he was 22 was, I believe he told me, was $22,000 a year. He was able to amass a small fortune in that time frame. Because I've always said, it's not how much money you make, it's what you keep, and more importantly, what you do with what you keep. Now, his strategy was very similar to my strategy. If you know my story, I was a W-2 employee for most of my life. Fortunate enough to retire and have a small pension, but I don't rely on that pension. My money comes from my investments, especially my real estate investment, and currently my company, my short-term rental management companies, where majority of my money comes in. Now, I make 7 figures, but I didn't make that when I first started. And more importantly, I became financially secure in my early 30s, just like this guy did. Here's what you need to understand. Really simple. This stuff is not rocket science. It's not complicated. You need to do 2 very important things. Number 1 is that you need to live below your means. Number 2, you need to invest. In my case, I was investing 20% of my salary was going into my properties. And at the time, I was in our city's deferred compensation program, or the government's deferred compensation program, very similar to a 401k. I am not a big fan of that, but it is something. It's something that what a person should be doing if you're not disciplined. Disciplined, don't bother with the 401k. I don't think your return on investment is good enough. But here's the deal. Like me, this is what he did. He would buy a property every couple of years. Each property that he bought was below market value, were fixer-uppers, and then he lived in those properties. And in some cases, he house hacked those properties. And while he was fixing them up, renovating them, adding value to that property, and then he would move out, rent it out, and buy the next. In that time frame, he's in his early 40s, so in 20 years, he was able to amass 8 properties. All 8 properties are cash flowing significant money that he can live off and retire off that money alone, not to mention the equity that he has on these properties. Definitely on paper, he's a millionaire and he never has to work again, but he loves teaching. He's going to continue to teach until he decides he doesn't want to anymore. You can do the same. I don't care what job you do. I don't care what you're currently doing. If you like what you're doing, stick with what you're doing, buy properties, fix them up, rent them out, and move on to the next. And you'll see in a very short amount of time, if you do that every couple of years, I'm a firm believer that it only takes about 10 years for you to be financially secure doing following this path. And then you'll be in the same position I am, in the same position that he's in. But most of you, don't have the patience to do that, and for whatever reason, most of you never want to live or sacrifice during your high earning years to live below your means. It takes that, people. It takes sacrifice, it takes some hard work, it takes some discipline to save. And here's the difference between him and I. He was able to do more than I was able to do because he's very handy. So most of the work he did himself. I'm not a handy individual. I'm not very skilled when it comes to like renovations and all that. I can see something, I can envision something, but I hire that out. For me, it was easier to work overtime, make the extra money so I can pay off my contractors so they can do the work. If I was handy and I didn't have to do that, I would have spent my time fixing it myself. I would have saved a lot of money. I would have got into my position a little bit quicker. But nonetheless, I became financially free in my 40s. I think you can do the same as long as you start. If you want to learn more how to be financially free through real estate, more importantly, more specific to short-term rentals, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram. More importantly, subscribe to my Instagram because I give out a lot of great nuggets to my subscribers there. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.